Okay, all right, guys. Welcome to today's episode of our candlestick patterns and chart. So, we've been talking for a couple of weeks right now, or for some time right now, and we've been treating the whole candlestick chart and candlestick patterns. So, this is a live chart. Today being the 13th of November, 2023. So, I just spotted out something that I felt the need to share. So at this time when I'm shooting this video, it's around 5 o'clock. Yeah, so I spotted out this candlestick pattern that I found very interesting and I want to show you guys. I want to give you guys, as usual, first-hand information, right? So on this chart, we've been seeing that, okay, fine, overall, we've been bearish. After printing out a head and shoulder pattern, on the higher time frame, let's go to the weekly. Right, on the weekly time frame, we can see that we printed out a head and shoulder pattern. Right, sorry, head and shoulder pattern. Obviously, this is the left shoulder, the head, the right shoulder. And at this point, we started selling from this point till this point. And now, when we got to this point, we thought we were going to sell. And I said, no, I expect us to buy for a bit, and I expect the market to reverse. Now, because I saw the candlesticks that printed out on these zones, this region, as you can see clearly, this will be called a doji candle, or should we call it a spinning top, right? Which one do we call this right now? We'll call this a doji candle because this is a spinning top, or it's not a full spinning top. This is an inverse hammer, or you call it a hanging hammer, right? No, an inverse hammer. So for now, I'm concerned about this reversal. So I spotted out this doji candle and I'm like, okay, this guy wants to reverse. Remember in our course, we said when we see a doji candle, now it depends which one, either a green candle or a red candle, but it signifies a reversal, right? So we saw that, okay, fine. When this guy printed out this, automatically it started reversing. Now remember that the bottom part of the body of the candlesticks stands as either a support or a resistance. So in this case, it stands as a support at this region, and price went back to this point, came back down, consolidated for a bit, and went back up. Now coming back to tap into our demand zone. This is our demand. Let me spot it out here. So we'll call this the demand. All right. Price came back to tap into this, our demand zone, and now bought. So now, today being the 13th of November, I am interested in seeing this thing. Now, this is same pattern the price is actually trying to print out. The same thing price printed out previously is what we're expecting to see at this point. Now, mind you, a lot of people will be selling. From this point, we sold till this point. And now, guess what? A lot of people will be selling this week. And I feel the need to share with you guys so you guys don't get trapped in the market. I am expecting more of buys this week. I'm expecting more of buys this week. One, we have, if you check our economic calendar, we would see a lot of news. We would see a lot of news the whole of this week. You can see it the whole of this week. We have a lot of news. So I'm expecting price to buy for a bit before it goes back down. Now, mind you, let's still look on the higher time frame. We'll notice that, okay, price is still printing out, giving us pattern that we might still have another head and shoulder pattern. Price is giving us a sign that we might still have another head and shoulder pattern. So we'll call this the left shoulder, right? The head as usual, left shoulder, all right? So we expect price to either come back to this region or at least just print out the right shoulder, then we continue going to the downside. Head and shoulder pattern, right? But right now, we're not going to just treat on that because that's not the topic we're in currently. But I just spotted out this and I felt the need to share with you guys. So now at this point, we can see the price has created and formed another doji candle on this 1 hour time frame, right? price has shown us that, okay, this is a reversal pattern. So at this point, we'll be looking to start buying. Now we want price to fill up for a bit. So if you go down to the 4-hour time frame, we would also see it clearly that, okay, at this point, we have printed out a very clear doji candle, a very clear doji candle, or should we call it a hammer, right? Let's call it a hammer. All right. So now this is a hammer already. Sorry, not a doji. This is a hammer. On the higher time frame, we saw a doji candle. Now on the 4-hour time frame, we can see a hammer. Now this is another sign number 2, giving us more reason that giving us more confidence, filling up our confidence, saying we're going to buy for this week. We've seen a hammer, a sign of reversal, meaning we're going to buy this week. So I won't want you guys to keep selling. I want you guys can see at this point, we saw an engulfing candle that got filled up. Now, this price got, this previous one was engulfed by this one. So we filled this candlestick up, which I said I want to see it get filled up, which just played out perfectly. So at this point, I want to see us reverse up to this point and take out liquidity of those sellers from last week. Now, if you draw your trend line properly, you would see that this trend line is not balanced. Now, it's compressed at some point, right? So now what happens? I expect price to break this trend line. Yes, I expect price to break this trend line and go back up to the upside, like go back to the upside. So I want to see something like this, more like a break and retest. I want to see price break, retest, and buy for a bit, right? For this week, do not look for much sales unless you want to scalp. I just felt the need to share with you guys. And I would later in the day, I will be showing you guys how to jump into trades like this. As you already know, Echo is active.